Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mike Lowe here, and we're going to be jumping into after, I guess, popular demand on Twitter. Not really a new streaming series, but we're going to be going through the Lions off season here, the 2021 off season. My lighting, as usual, makes it look like I'm just got back from a run or something. Very, very shiny today. I did just get back from taking the dog out for a little bit, and it is quite warm today. So anyway, yeah, welcome. We're going to be going through the Lions off season here, and we probably won't get to the whole thing. This might be just a couple episodes, but again, of course, I'm a big Lions fan in real life. Big news with the Lions today as they do hire from the Rams their former now director of college player personnel or something like that, basically amateur scouting director. Brad Holmes is the Lions' new general manager, and I was trying to think about how we'd go through and play this particular series here, or at least a few episodes. And I didn't know if we'd want to kind of go through like what I would do the Lions off season, what we think Brad Holmes might do, because I have some kind of theories on that, or if we just kind of go through it collectively here together as sort of like a group think, whether you're a Lions fan or not. So I am just pulling up the chat here to see if anyone's around. What's up, Marty Moose? Things are going well. It's been a busy week with work, but it's always good to be busy. So don't mind that. But this is a brand new franchise. I'm actually going to turn the camera off just because it's going to probably start blocking some different stuff. So give me a second here while I do that. And I think there's a couple ways we can go about this really entire series, right? Or at least this episode in the off season. So first, just to kind of give you the baseline. Brand new franchise. This has all of the latest February updates involved, which are really nice adjustments, by the way. I mean, I want to give the Madden team credit here for working some of this stuff in. And is it an argument of like, well, it's taken them long enough, but regardless, right? I mean, it's just nice to see these changes here. So, of course, you do have these new team setting overrides. This is on PlayStation 5, by the way. So you can see that's been added. What else is new? None of this is new. This was earlier this year. It's not necessarily new. Um, no, this is new. These are new. I love this play call cooldown. This is super important, not just in an online league, but even in your own to keep yourself honest, right? So making sure that you need to call at least 10 plays in between kind of your quote unquote money plays. And then this would be the money play, right? So how many times are you allowed to call something, even as something as simple as like fullback dive, right? If you kind of spam that on the goal line, maybe you put it at 1. Um, but I just had it at 10 and 2 again. We're not really looking at playing a game here today. We're just going to be going through the off season. But these changes are really, really nice. Um, and they've been worked in here. I'll leave the debate for another stream about whether it's kind of too little, too late sort of thing. I mean, if you load up Madden today, still you're seeing just all kinds of just really weird SpongeBob stuff, and I mean, just the fact that I'm talking about SpongeBob on a Madden stream kind of tells you the other direction this game seems to be wanting to go a little bit. But nonetheless, we are here. It is the Madden offseason. This is the full 16 games have already been played, and of course the real life features. Because one of the great features of Madden is that ability to kind of start with the accurate rosters, accurate standings, and for an off-season start, this is perfect. And then this is a really cool way to start if you've just got the game. I know it was recently on sale. It might still be. I'm not even sure. But this is about as updated as you can get. This is the wild card round, so yeah, it's technically a week behind. Like the wild card games have not been played yet in this franchise, but we don't really care. We're going to be just ripping through the playoffs here momentarily. But guys, the Lions are in rough shape. I mean, I can talk to you. I don't think that's a huge surprise, especially if you're a Lions fan. They're in a rough spot. I mean, Patricia and Quinn really left this team in just terrible, terrible shape. And then there's again a whole other debate about, well, what's the issue? Was it bad coaching? Maybe we had some decent players. I don't think Bob Quinn brought in just all trash players at all. I mean, there's definitely some players he brought in that I love. Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, even Hawkinson, even though I think it was ridiculous to pick him at number 8. There's definitely been some nice contributors, even some guys that were picked up later. I super appreciate that he didn't ship out Matthew Stafford, for instance. But at the same time, I just personally think there was just a kind of the smartest guy in the room kind of syndrome going on with Bob Quinn, and certainly with Patricia. He was a whole other issue. That guy was just, in my opinion, top to bottom, pretty terrible coach. In way over his head. It looked like in regards to being a head coach and perhaps even a coordinator. I mean, you could see a lot of the chicken or the egg kind of thing. What came first, Bill Parcells and the Tom Brady Patriots? And, again, defenses being able to kind of tee off on teams that are behind, or, was it more Patricia's doing? And, the guy's not brain dead, obviously. I mean, he knows what he's doing on with defensive schemes a little bit, but his scheme, at least the one that he kind of lived and died by, the 3-3-5, is the way he put it into this team was garbage. And so that's where we stand. That's how we're trying to kind of rebuild this team. Personal philosophy. And again, guys, let me know in the chat if you want to kind of go through this, like what I would do. If we want to have input, I'm happy to. This is just kind of just playing around, having some fun here. We will be loading in a real life draft class and just looking to see. I mean, this team, you think you'd be surprised if you haven't been following the Lions. I mean, just how bad of shape this team is in. And I haven't looked at this just yet. I'm just kind of going off of real life. But if it's anything like real life, we're going to be in trouble. For instance, of course, we have Stafford, whose contract in 2020 was 35. It comes down a little bit. These are inaccurate. These should be bumped over a year. And I think when we jump into the offseason, it should. But that's what his 21 salary should be. And then it goes down in 22. So let's not look at this screen just yet, because I don't think it's going to be quite as accurate. And we can kind of show this by we should have a ton of free agents here. Well, maybe it is accurate. Because a lot of these guys, yeah, you can see the Lions have like no one returning. So maybe these are accurate, or at least the years are accurate. I'm not quite sure, but Stafford should have 2 more years remaining on his contract, though. So sometimes that'll kick over. But of course, you got a guy. I mean, I love Matthew Stafford, but in Madden, he's maybe a slightly above average quarterback at 81 overall. It's a lot of money. He does take a bit of a pay decrease in the following year, but that's a big story going on with this team. I mentioned the receivers. I mean, look at the guys who are gone after this year. Look at this. Who's their top receiver? It's Quintez Cephas, a former 6th-round draft pick from a couple of years ago. He's a 69 overall. Probably thinking, who the heck's this guy? Tom Kennedy. You're right. Who is that guy? Victor Bolden Jr. I mean, these are the receivers this team has coming back. They have the 7th overall pick in the draft. And we also, so, you think, well, there's a lot of really good receivers. Let's go grab a receiver. Sure. The Lions had the 30th worst defense overall in the league. And if you watch them week to week like me, the most shocking part of that is that 2 teams were somehow worse than the Lions. I've been watching the Lions since I've probably been, 10 or 12 years old. And I've never, and that goes back into the 90s, I've never seen a defense play this badly. And again, that's where a lot of my kind of animosity towards Matt Patricia and his quote-unquote scheme comes into play, because how can you be kind of a defensive guru and put that out on the field? I mean, you would have been better to play like pickup football and been like, guys, use your best ability. If you feel more comfortable in man, go for it. If you want to play zone, Let's just all get on the same page. Like that would have been a better defense. Just like calling like just a cover 2 man on every play and just going with it. Because I mean, this team was just a hot mess. What they were trying to do here. So anyway, on defense, there's just holes everywhere. I don't really need to go through it. I mean, if we just there are some positives if we just kind of look at the overalls. I mentioned Ragnow. Kenny Galladay is a guy that could be franchise tagged and probably will be by the real life Lions, I would think. Of course, Hawkinson, a really good player. Marvin Jones Jr. is one of my favorite Lions, actually. This guy, he's not going to come back, it looks like, with the Lions, but this dude, like, give this guy some respect. If you're looking for, I mean, this guy has to be one of the best, and I mean no disrespect by saying number 2 receivers. He's just played on teams with like AJ Green. He came in after Calvin Johnson left, right? So he's always kind of been a bit of a receiver too. But I mean, this dude produces. These are real life numbers, right? So again, this is right when Calvin left. He was literally who they used that money on to go sign. Just about 1,000 yards. Look at these averages though. Like these are no joke. And again, he saw a little bit of regression here, but still almost had 1,000 yards this year. 9 touchdowns. I think I read something that he's the only player in the NFL the last 2 seasons to have at least 9 touchdowns receiving. The only player in the NFL to have at least 9 back in the last 2 years, or maybe it was 3 out of the last 4, or something like that, but still remarkable. So giving Marvin Jones Jr. his props there, because just seems like a great guy, and just it was a pleasure to watch. Trey Flowers is a promising player. He doesn't put up kind of the sexy stats that a lot of people want to see, getting all the sacks and stuff like that. But really, sacks are they're kind of like wins in baseball. They're a little bit overblown. The idea is just getting pressure on the quarterback. So yeah, he only had 3 sacks and he had 7 last year. But he's still, if you look at kind of PFF scores and things like this, Trey Flowers is still a very, very good, if not, just great defensive end. He's a power rush guy, so he's not somebody who blazes around the left tackle or right tackle on each play. He's just a little bit of a different guy. I mean, but he gets in the quarterback's faces. He was hurt a little bit this year, so again, he's definitely a nice player. Talked about Stafford. Trufant was complete trash this year. Jimmy Collins is a good player, but I think was having to compensate for all the bad players around him and had a rough year. Deron Harmon had a really bad year for the Lions. Coleman had a really bad year for the Lions and is going to be gone. Everson Griffith was a trade. I think they traded the 6th-round pick for him. Really good value, but he's gone after this year and probably want way more money at 33 than the Lions are going to want to pay him. So, and of course, you got Prater. Who knows what's going on with him? But Amendola's going to be gone. So you can see we're already down into the 70s, right? There's not a whole ton here. There's just not a whole ton going on. So, yeah. So what does this team look to do? Good question. A lot. There's going to be a lot to do. So looks like we have a couple player upgrades here. We'll just kind of tear through these. But guys, if you have questions as we go through this, just let me know. We don't even have scheme fit, so I'm actually not going to update these because we don't know who our coach is going to be. And that's not always the most exciting thing in the Madden offseason. So, but let's just jump ahead here. That will simulate the playoffs. I really don't even care who's winning the playoffs, so let's just kind of get through this. So hire staff, and we're just going to grab somebody. I usually go grab, is he still here? Oh, they got a bunch of new coaches. I always like this Thomas Pita guy. I just like his schemes. Let's just hire him. Let's just make it easy. Sure. There you go. Look how exciting the Madden staff hiring is. It's just riveting excitement. We need a trainer. I don't really care. Give me somebody decent. Sure. Looks good. All right. There. Exciting. Now we have a coach. Now we can actually do some upgrades, so we kind of know what scheme to try and fit. Or, I'm sorry, we don't have them. I guess we just put the offer in? Is that what's going on? Let's see. Do we actually have a staff? We don't. All right, let's advance. Pro Bowl. Okay, got the trainer. Great. Got the coach. Great. Okay. Give these guys a quick upgrade here. He'll never really be a speed rusher. He's 26. Just stick to what you know best, Romeo. Keep power rushing. And I don't know for Hawkinson. He needs to be a better short route runner. Let's go to session here. Made the Pro Bowl this year, TJ Hawkinson. Super Bowl is Green Bay versus Cleveland. Hey, that wouldn't surprise me. So let's load in our draft class here. And I'm just going to grab, I guess, the most popular 2021 draft class. I haven't looked at these in a long time. It's trying to load. It's trying its darndest. Okay, no connection. Let's try that again here. Let's see, how do I reload this here? There is a way. Well, we might be hitting a snag here, because I need to load it in this week, so we might be SOL, as they say, same old Lions, with us loading in the community files. I can try one other thing here once it cancels out. We'll try and go grab it outside of franchise, but I have a feeling they might actually even be updating the rosters right now, because I think they do that on Thursday. So that would kind of make some of this stuff unavailable. But here comes some of that SpongeBob stuff I was talking about. We'll probably get to see. It's exciting. Yeah, here we go. Dive into Bikini Bottom. I know you've all been waiting for that. I don't have the words. I don't even really know what to say. Alright, so let's see. Download community files. Let's see if we can get it loaded here. It's reading how many files are on the server, so it's connecting, or at least it has a cache. Well, this is a bummer. Do I have a draft class? I probably have like an old one. Yeah, I have an old one, but like it's from like before Christmas. I don't know why it won't connect. That's no fun. We might have to come back to this. Yeah, guys, I might want to retry this later. I mean, if we're not going to be able to do a true Lions offseason here without getting the draft file. So hold tight. I'm going to disconnect for now, and I'll try and get this file. And if I can get it here soon, I'll jump back online. But for now, we're kind of stuck. Oh, here we go. Got it. All right. So it looks like Bengal is the most popular one, 87-4. It's pretty good like to dislike ratio. Does it tell you when it was last updated? Oh yeah, okay. Pretty recently. All right, let's grab this one. What's up, Delante? We almost had to abort the stream just now. I couldn't get this file to work, and we're still trying. This is like ordering a PS5. That you just keep hoping and praying that the next thing you click on works. It turned green. I guess that's good. An error. Yeah, see, this is just like buying a PS5 online. Yeah, something's going on with their server right now. Yeah, it's definitely EA related. Because before I couldn't even get this page to load up. Let's back out. Let's just see if we can kind of get it to refresh here. We're so close. I hope I can like trim this part out. But if we can't get it going soon, I promise you, I'm not going to take my night and sit here and try and download a Madden draft class. So fear not. We'll either get this going or we will move on. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, maybe it did download. Because that time it asked me to override it. Well, it didn't give us an error, right? Yeah, I said to wait until I backed out, so. Let's see. Draft class. Yeah, it looks like it's there. Alright, let's see. Hopefully it's like fully intact. But I want to just show you guys like the two big things to look at, because I know people love rebuilds. And if you want a challenge, Lions are a good one for you, because you're not really in a good situation. You got 5 draft picks. You don't have a ton of cap room. You got some old, overpaid players just about everywhere. And that's not even including Stafford, because I love Matthew Stafford, but yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So, edit players. Here we go. Import local file. Yay, we did it. And it's got 450 players, so it looks like it is populated. Okay. Well, so of course scouting, right? And one thing I realized I didn't do is fire my scrubby scout, because as someone who likes to run kind of a 4-2-5 or at least a nickel a lot, having a scout who focuses on linebackers is kind of pointless. And I cannot fire him, but that's okay. That's going to keep us honest, because I probably won't be scouting a lot of linebackers, so it'll really have us focused on spending our points wisely, right? So, so let's see if it actually fixed the finances here. Let's see what it looks like now, although we're still in the 2020 season. So I don't think it's probably hasn't changed. But I swear it's got Stafford stuff off by a year. Because this will be much easier than real life. If he only has 1 year left on his deal, you could cut him or trade him. That's not going to be the case, though. Yeah, so these guys are still here. So it hasn't clicked over yet, obviously, to the offseason. But let's just scout kind of, I mean, truthfully, guys, in my opinion, and again, if you have opinions, please chime in. I'm very curious. But this is not a team that should be looking at a first-round quarterback. I don't mind if they go grab a second-round quarterback. But let me show you why. And why it's important for maybe your team in Madden or in real life. So we saw the Stafford contract, but there's more to this, right? You already have nearly $6 million idiot Bob Quinn dollars tied up into Chase Daniel as your backup. If you bring in a first round pick, he's going to have a very similar contract. I mean, how much cap space do you want to use on your quarterbacks? And I get like, well, you could move Stafford. He's going to have a cap hit, right? So if we go to release Stafford, $19 million. So, it doesn't really solve your problem at all. So even if then you have 19 and then two guys making like 6. And so this is why if you see me on Twitter talk about the Lions, I said the Lions could have drafted a quarterback last year. They cannot this year, but they could again next year. This is precisely why. We didn't have Chase Daniel and his ridiculous contract on this team at the time. You could afford both these guys, even with Stafford. They cannot do that this year. Now, second round you can, because the guy's going to make less than $1 million. And of course, Delonte says, I think the Lions would benefit from going defense in the draft. Absolutely. They had the worst defense I've ever seen, and again, amazingly, somehow weren't the worst in the NFL. I don't know how that was even possible. They actually did give up more yards than anybody, it looks like, so I stand corrected. Third worst pass defense. The fifth or sixth worst rush. Fifth worst rush defense. Points allowed, worst. Okay, so I guess they were as bad as I thought. Horrendous. Sacks, 7th, 6th in the league from the bottom? They recovered 1 fumble all year. They had 7 interceptions. I mean, look, you cannot be any worse. But Delonte, here's the thing, Delonte and others, here's the problem. The Lions pick 7th. Who are you picking? Right? If this is, now again, this is just straight up order, but it's pretty accurate. Like, these guys are all going to probably be picked in the top 10. I don't think Kyle Trask will be. Parsons will be. Now, one of the only holes they don't have is at corner, because you'd be picking essentially a cornerback too, assuming Jeff Okudah can bounce back. So really the only defensive guy you're looking at is Micah Parsons, who is kind of he can really play just about anywhere. Super athletic guy. And yeah, I would be totally fine if the Lions took Micah Parsons, but again, it's very likely he won't be there at 7. So what are you going to do? Draft, again, a cornerback number 2? You're going to stretch and pick Kwity Paye at 7? I mean, I don't know. And so to me, it's like, and we talked earlier, Brad Holmes got hired by the Lions today. The Rams haven't had a first round pick since 2016. That's his style. So don't be surprised if in real life the Lions move this number 7 pick, and I am fine with that, because it's just not, we're just not in a good place. They can't use it on a quarterback. The only thing they could really do is grab a receiver. But again, and that's what I would personally do. If I stay put at 7, I'd be grabbing a receiver. Because you're not going to fix this defense in 1 year. So why force it, right? You're going to still need receivers, and this team absolutely is going to need receivers, with a bunch of them coming back. And yeah, you could lock down the secondary, sure. But I mean, again, we're looking at a cornerback 2 situation. To me, you can find a guy like that in free agency who can play corner 2. They would have some other options there. Hey, if this were a team that, we made it to the Final Four, made it to the Super Bowl, that kind of thing, and we somehow had the 7th pick, yeah, go ahead and spoil yourself. Get a second corner. But this team's just not in a position to do that. And again, that's one of the big reasons why I wish they had taken Tua Tagovailoa last year, because now they could go grab a cornerback at 7 if they wanted. They could get Patrick Surtain the second. They would have some options, and they'd also have Tua, right? And we wouldn't have Chase Daniel. And I know Tua's, struggled a little bit and so on, but I am not too worried about him. I think he looks like a really, really good player. So, but again, they did not do that, and that's okay. I like Okudah too. So anyway, quarterback with this team, I'm not even looking at these first round guys, and there really aren't any second round guys. So, do we want to start wasting our scouting on our 4th round pick guys? Not yet. So again, we're looking at kind of scheme fits and things like that. Maybe even guys who are slotted as like late first, but there aren't any in this particular draft. Halfback, in my opinion, you're completely wasting your assets picking guys in the first couple rounds with running backs. Most running backs don't get a second contract in the NFL. Most of them don't stick around with their original team. to me, we're looking at running backs down here. But luckily, this team actually has a couple good running backs already on the team. Receiver is a huge need. And again, if we stayed put here, this is probably what we'd be doing. So I think it's fair to be scouting some of these receivers because they're going to, if we pick, again, looking at this list here of early first guys, Micah Parsons, yeah, we can certainly scout him. We can do that right now. So he, of course, checks out as an early first, no surprise. But I mean, guys, these are all stretches, right? Jamarcus Chase, it's a guy I would scout. Comes out early first. I'm sorry, Jamar Chase. And that's it. I'm not taking it. These are the only two guys, honestly, at least in this draft. In real life, I'd also be scouting Devontae Smith. So let's see maybe how he's looking here. So he comes in as mid first. So again, he'd be a bit of a stretch there. Jalen Waddle, I'd probably scout him too, just to see if he can pop up to an early, and he does. So I guess there's probably three guys I would consider. Be one of those three guys. But there's the only guys I would pick if again, according to this, in real life, I actually hope they get Devontae Smith, but I don't think he'll be there. But going off of this Madden draft class, he's scouted as a mid first. It'd be a stretch there at number 7. I actually like Mac Jones, but again, if he had like a late first, I might scout him. Maybe we get lucky and get him in the second. So again, we only have 5 picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This shows where, they actually haven't taken away. The Lions don't have a 6th round pick this year. That's who they traded for. They either traded their 5th or 6th for Everson Griffin. So that's not entirely accurate, but I mean, guys, that's it. At this point, we're kind of looking at 2nd round talent. So I mean, we can just kind of go to here and just start scrolling down to the early 2nd because what else are you going to do? They don't need a right tackle. I wouldn't want to waste more scouting on a receiver just yet. A speed rushing defensive tackle, 100% something the Lions could use. To get some pass rush up the middle, 100%. I would love it if they could get a guy like this. So let's see how he scouts out. So he's a mid-3rd. So, okay, bad news. Here's another one. We need to get rid of these excess points we're going to have. So let's go see if we can kind of use them on some of these linebackers. Are there any linebackers that look interesting? Because it's another huge need of the Lions. Mid-2nd. What about like a late first? He's a late first. So many holes. They're just so bad. Six foot four, 260. Dang, that guy's huge. I wonder if it still has like Patricia's system in here. Like when I hired him, I don't know if oops, where am I going? I don't know if it updated his schemes. Oh no, yeah, it did. Okay. I want to get rid of these excess points. We'll have other weeks to scout, obviously. 6'4", 260. That's just too big for a linebacker. Sorry. I appreciate you being a scheme fit, but that was one of the things that Patricia was obsessed with, and we saw how well that worked out. You get linebackers who can't run. I don't care how big and strong you are. Completely immobile. He's a late 2nd. Okay, so there's nothing there. Probably take a look, though, at this middle linebacker. He's what, early 2nd? Yeah. So that's a good start. I'm trying to get rid of these excess points here, so we can actually do this. We can do that. And then this will take us down. That would take us down to 5. That's not going to do us any good either. This stupid game. This stupid system. Well, I guess we'll just do this. So let's just go back to the second round, and we're gonna lose a point, but that's okay. Better to lose a point than to try and force it somewhere. So let's see, what else would we be looking at? Certainly again, speed rushing defensive tackle. And we'll come finish him the next week there. So yeah, I mean, Delonte, you're 100% right. The Lions defense is going to be really, really bad. Let's get through this Super Bowl here. Retirements. I'm not anticipating the Lions having any shocking retirements, but you can just kind of scroll through and take a look. So Adrian Peterson, Amendola, Don Mulbeck, the longest tenured Lion. Literally 18 years with the Lions. It's seriously insane. So nothing big there. Figured Amendola would be gone. Thank God Adrian Peterson's gone. I love Adrian Peterson. Thank you for being such a fantastic NFL running back, but please get off my Lions. I just have no use for you. Let's see here. So we saw the retirements. Ready to negotiate. So I talked earlier about, we could try and, bring Kenny Galladay back. I mean, that would make a lot of sense, I think, for the Lions. They've been trying, and I truly hope that well, I don't know. I'm curious to see what Brad Holmes is going to do with Kenny Galladay. Because does he do like a franchise tag and trade kind of thing, or does he extend him? Do we just let him walk away? These guys. I liked Everson Griffin, but he's 33. Even Prater, I don't want to overpay for a kicker. Although he only wants 2.6, that's not too bad. Like none of these guys. Like there's just no reason to be like. I mean, Jamal Agnew was actually X Factor, or he was. I thought he had like an X Factor kick return. Anyway, really, really good return guy. What's his return rating here? Kick return 94. So maybe we resign Jamal Agnew. But so far, Agnew, and again, guys, I know this team pretty well. None of these guys have a role, a purpose, or certainly any reason to spend money on them. None of them. I mean, like I think Darryl Roberts made some nice plays, but again, at $2 million, like at 30, I would rather just kind of see how the draft plays out. I think that's actually a really good deal for Prater. But again, I'm not in a huge rush. I mean, love Marvin Jones, but sorry, we're just not paying you $7 million. I mean, truthfully, in real life, $7 million is not bad at all for Marvin Jones. It's actually a really good deal. So Galladay wants money. And, again, it's a bit of a crossroad. What do you do with the guy? He's not young. He's not old. He's just right in between, right? He's at the end of his first deal. And so, what do you do with a guy who's been very productive for the Lions? You started to see signs of even his rookie year, 17 yards per catch. This year hurt a lot, so he did not play a lot. But when he did, again, a very, very good player. Would have had his best year. And so, I guess the first thing I'd look at with a guy like him is, well, what is his injury rating here? We have the benefit of seeing that, I guess, in a video game. So 88, that's not too bad. Anything lower than that, though, you're going to start worrying about. He doesn't have blazing speed, but guys, don't fall too much in love with speed. It's nice to have a guy like that for certain routes, but you need guys who are dependable. He's not really a scheme fit for what we're trying to do, but he's also not, he's still an 85 overall. So I don't know. That is a tough call. Because we have so many holes, I think I'm going to try and sign him. And what did he want again? He wants like 53 over 4 years. So, you're looking at about 12, 13 or so per year. Yeah, whatever. We're just trying to just riff through this. So he's not interested in re-signing. So, okay. So, and this is kind of where we're at with the Lions in real life here with him. And so, they could franchise tag. It'd be a $19 million deal. And so I've seen a lot of people talking about that. Like, well, just franchise tag him. Just franchise tag him. Guys, I mean, let's look at the Lions cap space. So they have $18 million cap space right now. And I believe that's let me find a cheaper player. Or is that accurate? Yeah, so I have a little bit more than that. So like if we just go to the cheapest guy, that'll kind of give us an idea. So let's call it, 24, maybe $25 million in cap space. Now, the game does make you uh, save money for your draft, right? So, guys, what you're looking at here is if we franchise tag Kenny Galladay and we kept our draft picks, we'd have about $5 million left over to fix the world's worst defense. So, like, what are you gonna do? And so, when I was saying earlier, like the Lions are a I guess fun rebuild, but also be prepared for how frustrating this team is going to be to rebuild. And I'm super excited about the Brad Holmes hire. I think it's going to be great for the Lions. But I'm also like I got my popcorn ready because what is he going to do? How do you get rid of Stafford financially? And I mean the guy's just a legend in Detroit. What are you going to do with Kenny Galladay? What are you going to do with the world's worst defense? I mean, guys, the worst defense I have. Like, I refed high school football before. I, I've played on a middle school football team that didn't win a game for 2 years. Our defense was better than the 2020 Lions defense. That's how bad they were. And so I've never seen anything so putrid in my life. And I love Kenny Galladay, but I mean, what do you do with this guy? If you have thoughts on that, please share because it's a really tough call here. I was hoping he would just resign, but I'm telling you right now, we can't afford this. Not to mention, like, we might be picking, there is a chance we'd be picking a receiver in the first round. And, $19 million, if we get a rookie receiver, okay, I guess we put him in as a quote unquote number one. We can certainly use that $19 million elsewhere. We can still get a receiver too. Um, we're going to have to. Another option here is that we could renegotiate with Marvin Jones. And again, in real life, it wouldn't surprise me, but he's not going to want to take a short-term deal. So, oops, I wanted to resign. Well, I don't know. God, now that I think about it, I don't know if I can resign Jamal Agnew. We have such a problem with our cap space. He wants, $2.5 million to return kicks. I'm sorry, man. I can't even resign him. So we need to come in and just keep these salaries as low as possible, unless there's something I'm missing. So it says our cap space is 36 and it's holding 11 million. So okay, I guess maybe we have a little bit more. 36 million. So okay, yeah. See how the contract shifted over. This is now accurate. So now that we're into the off season, this is correct. So the Lions are stuck with Stafford for 2 years, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that in a financial way. I'm glad they're stuck with Stafford. I hope that this team can kind of restructure around him. I think he deserves it. And I mentioned that they're pretty good at running back. I don't know if these guys are still star. He still is. DeAndre Swift he wasn't used a lot because our idiot head coach wouldn't play him. We wanted to play the 400-year-old Adrian Peterson over him. But DeAndre Swift had a really nice rookie year, and again, didn't even come on until late. 500 yards, 4.6 per average. Guys, I can't tell you the last time the Lions had a guy with an average that high. I mean, look at this. Like, these were, Kenny Galladay had a nice rookie, or I'm sorry, Kerryon Johnson had a nice rookie year as well. But again, he had an injury, and he started to fall off. And so, anyway, so we have a little bit more room. But again, still, if we have 36, do we want to use more than half of that on Kenny Galladay? And guys, how, right? I mean, how? But look what we have here. Look how bare this cupboard is. And I believe it's not like we can even franchise tag him and then trade him because I think we'll still, I believe it's 100%. I think it's guaranteed money. And it's not, I don't think that travels with I'm not positive on that. I certainly don't know how Madden does it. But I don't think you can just, like, it's a guarantee, like, you owe him that money. It's almost like a signing bonus. So we would lose that money. I'm fairly sure. Delonte, you might know. I know you're kind of big up on how games behave and whatnot, but yeah, I think we're kind of stuck. So let's advance. So we're gonna let Galladay walk, and let's just see like what the hell is this team gonna do here. So yeah, so there, yeah, see we have 25 million in cap space, so I feel good with our decision. There's also a lot of really good receivers in free agency this year. So of course you have Kaepernick, who we'll just ignore for now because not for any particular reason other than he won't really be in the real life free agent class. So some team will sign him here in this simulation, but I think for what we're trying to do, it's not really a realistic thing for the Lions to be looking at Kaepernick in this stream here. But again, a quarterback, not worried one bit. We're pretty locked up with our two Grizzly vets here in Stafford and Daniel. Running back, again, I am perfectly fine going with Swift, even Kerryon Johnson next year. Maybe they try and trade Kerryon Johnson, but I'm certainly not using our cap space on a very, very expensive running back. So we're skipping there. Fullbacks are useless. We're going to skip that. So receiver, Kenny Galladay checks in as tied for second best receiver available. Chris Godwin is going to be commanding a big contract. Galladay is already getting an offer. He wants the same offer we offered him earlier. But gosh, what I might try to do is just really keep an eye on some of these guys down here, because as long as none of them have an offer, maybe we can come back and revisit that later. But I mean, we have to sign a receiver. We're gonna need a receiver of some kind here. You know what we didn't do is we haven't tried to clear some cap space, and I think we can do that in some places. So we would save 2.3. Any savings I can get with him, I'm taking it. So let me make sure I understand that right. So we would save 2.3. Yeah, that's fine. It saves 2.3. See ya. Bye, Chase Daniel. So he's gone. I mean, you're a QB3, and that's fine. I'm not worried about him. Probably put him on the trade block. See if we can get anything for him. Everything else I'm good with there. Fullback, I don't care. There's no problems there. Jesse James, goodbye. Yep. So he is definitely going to be cut. Okay, so everything else there is fine. No big issues there. Taylor Decker is really underrated in Madden. He's played really well for the Lions his whole career, really. But he's got way too much money locked in. He's negative savings, so and that's fine. I like Taylor Decker. Let's go to right tackle next. Perhaps the worst signing I've ever seen by a Lions GM, and I would say any GM, but I don't follow every team as closely. Halapaluvati Vaitai. Let's see if I can do that again. Halapaluvati Vaitai, I believe is how you say his name. This has to be the worst signing I've ever seen a Lions GM make. Like, what are you doing? I can't even cut this guy. It'll actually lose me money. So, all right. Well, thanks, Bob Quinn. Joe Dahl, pretty useless, but we don't really save a lot, so we'll keep him. Let's go to left guard. Jonah Jackson was a good pick. Again, I'm hard on Bob Quinn, but Jonah Jackson, excellent pick by him. I think he was our third round pick, maybe. Got really, really good value out of Jonah Jackson. Started the whole year, played really well. Yeah, third round pick. Really, really good pick. Logan Stenberg, not so much. Maybe picked in the very next round. I don't think he even touched the field. Yeah, fourth round. So not a good pick, but again, jury's still out, still very young. But Jonah Jackson played very, very well. Lions actually have a pretty decent offensive line. If there's any other strength, I guess, outside of like Stafford and maybe the potential with Swift and Hawkinson, it's their offensive line. So yeah, we're gonna definitely keep him. And again, I love Frank Ragnow, great player. Quietly, this guy could be a Hall of Fame interior lineman. He's had that kind of career so far early on. Really, really good player. He'll probably be gone after this year, but who knows? He's been really fun to have on the team. So there we made some offensive cuts. I don't think he's actually under contract. Okwara should be a free agent. But lucky for us, we have him back, so that's good. He had a really nice year. None of these guys I'm too worried about. We're definitely going to be cutting Nick Williams, who they have as a defensive end for some reason, but he's more of a tackle. But he's gone. Another worthless signing by Matt Patricia. Some good with those guys. See, Red and I mentioned Flowers against, quietly kind of looking at advanced metrics is still a very, very good player in this league. I'm excited to see what Julian Aquara, Romeo's younger brother, can do. He was another third-round pick the Lions had. I think he was used with the pick we got for Darius Slay. Or no, he was our third-round pick. I guess Jonah Jackson was the Darius Slay pick, I think. So, anyway, but we're not going to be cutting him. We won't be cutting either of those guys. So, defensive tackle is a bit of a mess on this team. I guess we got to keep Danny Shelton for now, but he might be a cut later. Yeah, these guys. Get rid of this guy. Oh, we can't. He's hurt. Jamie Collins. Oof. Tobias been pretty bad. We won't cut him just yet, though. Christian Jones cut. So I think you will see a lot of these players that I'm cutting will be cut in real life. Oops. So that was right outside linebacker. Corner. Don't be surprised if Justin Coleman gets cut. Yeah, and for what we have behind him. Yes, cut both these scrubs. So we're going to actually free up quite a bit. Cut. Goodbye. Probably could have traded him, but who cares? Trying to be realistic here in this little walkthrough. Tracy Walker, I think, will bounce back. I'm still pretty high in Tracy Walker. Will Harris is god awful. So we're actually going to get rid of him. And Jake Fox, great year. Probably the best punter in the NFL this year. Probably more practice than just about anybody, though, too. So we freed up twice as much cap space just by kind of cutting a lot of dead weight. So now it's not too bad. I'm also very glad we did not franchise tag Kenny Galladay. So that obviously gives us a few options here. Gives us some options for free agency. And I want to try to keep these little segments shorter. So we're going to stop there. We've trimmed down some of the fat. You can see kind of where the top free agents are looking here as I just scroll through. And that's where we'll jump into next. We're going to jump into the free agency for the Lions. We will jump into probably the draft, which will be coming up there. Those will probably be the next couple of episodes here. So, yeah, the Lions are in rough shape. I guess it wasn't as scary as I thought. At least in Madden, you have a couple options here. And again, in real life, I'm super excited to see what Brad Holmes is able to do with this team. So, all right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the feedback on this. And we will continue to try and rebuild this trash Lions team that I love so much on the next few episodes. See you then.